I heard the devil went down to Georgia, but sure as hell looks like Eric Church found the soul.
True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, hope you're doing well. Today we are discussing the Eric Church album, Soul. This is the third album in a trilogy series, Heart and Soul. And yes, and or ampersand is an album. Unfortunately not available to the general public as of yet, but that can be excused since it's a smaller set of leftovers that doesn't fit into the main projects of Heart or Soul. And don't worry, or is not an album title. Regardless, breaking an album into multiple parts is, I can tell you, first off, a whole lot easier to digest. I can all but guarantee 2 9-song records are way less taxing for casual fans to listen to than a single 18-song project, so kudos to Eric Church for that. Also, while splitting the music into multiple parts, I think it buys Church some stylistic freedom. With that said, don't go into Soul thinking it's strictly soul music. It's definitely more ambitious than its counterpart, Heart, for better or for worse. The greatest difference I've noticed so far with Soul is actually that it takes a few more risks stylistically. Part of this record might be mellow, some parts groovy with a lot more organ creeping up on these tracks. Still, of course, embodying 70s soul and funk. Those might have been the blueprint for soul. But yeah, there's definitely some hints of Motown in there as well. Whatever this record is classified as, Eric takes the time to pump the brakes at the beginning of this record with the cut Rock and Roll Found Me. A very simple bass line and light guitar strumming on this, as the track elects to be more reserved and laid back compared to the majority of Heart. I have to say the instrumentation on this song is flawless and it's well performed. It's just a very quiet contrast to the final track on Heart, so be on the lookout for that. It almost gave me whiplash the first time I heard it. Eric, he carries the tune vocally on Rock and Roll Found Me. There's nothing wrong with that. I just maybe would have appreciated to have a more vigorous arrangement around him. This opening track, yes, unfortunately comes across as way more constrained than it has to be in my opinion. Thankfully, Church must have heard my plea because he delivers on the intro of the subsequent track, Look Good and You Know It. The dynamics are instantaneously dialed up to 10 before drawing it back down for the verses. A very peculiar choice to draw in listeners, but then he loses me. Keep in mind the hook on the track is memorable, but my god, the verses are practically throwaway. I get there needs to be some kind of contrast to the chorus, but simply having bass with drums and minimal guitars in there, it just takes the punch out of this song for me. Truly a shame because the vocal chemistry that Eric has with the backup singers, it's to die for. Now, one last misstep for this record, and yeah, it's not off to the greatest start. We have Bright Side Girl. Everything about this one is nondescript and frankly soulless, much to the chagrin of its album title. The tune, the instrumentation, the transitions from verse to chorus, all of it is just so hard to engage with, nothing really sticking out as an interesting detail. Eric might as well have renamed this track Brown Eyed Girl and called it a day, because let's face it, a cover song at this point of the record would have done it more justice than these 3 original songs that are just complete snooze fests in my opinion. Thankfully, revitalizing this track list is Break It Kind of Guy, which I've seen some mixed reviews on. I think it's a fantastic track. It's really thinking outside the box and pushing some stylistic boundaries with an understated synth-pop electronic aesthetic. It honestly makes me think Eric is completely switching genres. Rest assured, the guitar still has a bluesy tinge and country twang, and that bass just, so animated and pulsating, and of course another commanding vocal performance from Eric, and that's all I've been craving for up until this point on the album. It's just unfortunate the first 3 tracks didn't cut it for me. Mind you, I do get where Eric is coming from with all these soulful elements. He wants to bring them to the table, and I think what best exemplifies that is on Hell of a View, which is a wonderful song for his discography with a perfect touch of reverb on his vocals. Such a strong tune as well. It's catchy, it's got great songwriting, it's an instant classic for country, and I also have to commend the purple, red, and blue references in one of the verses. I mean, the album covers those are the colors, just so you know. Continuing on, Where I Wanna Be is a highlight for Soul as well. Honestly, sounds like Bob Seger going country. Eric's charisma is off the charts, like Heart of the Night from the sister LP. He isn't afraid of giving Where I Wanna Be an extra push of energy with shouted vocals. Plus, come on, the staccato hook and the whistling, those are just infectious. Pretty sure Eric also references Elvis in one of the verses as well, but his vocalizations of the King of Rock and Roll, they're spot on. Keeping the positives rolling, Bad Mother Trucker is a guilty pleasure track for me. It's kind of like what Tim McGraw's Truck Yeah was many years ago. And yes, trucks are one of the oldest cliches in the country songbook, but Bad Mother Trucker, I still like it. Capping this review with the ballads Jenny and Lynyrd Skynyrd Jones, the former adds complexity to the guitar playing. I absolutely adore the mix of picked and strumming style. Eric's singing is passionate as hell, and it's one of the stronger moments on this record that wears its soul on the sleeve. And yes, I purposely said soul instead of heart on the sleeve because we're talking about soul. And onto the latter and closing track, Lynyrd Skynyrd Jones. This one has a very catchy descending guitar chord progression. Also, the Lynyrd Skynyrd references, they don't compromise the storytelling. If anything, it makes more sense just to have these two albums, Heart and now Soul, come full circle on a classic song reference. Basically, what started on Heart ends on Soul. All in all, I think Soul takes a while to work out the kinks, but this record, it really hits its stride by track 4, and it doesn't look back after that. I could see myself giving brownie points to Soul for being maybe a little more boundary pushing and creative, but given that those 3 songs are tacked on at the beginning and I'm not too crazy about them, that probably colors my opinion biasedly. Regardless, more often than not, this record compels me to listen intently, and I can excuse the lack of grit or teeth to the instrumentation as much as possible. All of that being said, I'm feeling a strong 6 out of 10, maybe a light 7 out of 10 on a good day. But there you have it. There's the album review. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Tell me what you guys think of this music, whether you agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town. I'd appreciate that. As always, thanks for watching and have a rockin' day.